Hello, welcome to Dendro's podcast. I'm your host Justin. Today we're reviewing the 1998 Marvel Comics film Blade, starring Wesley Snipes. It's directed by English filmmaker Stephen Norrington, which reviewed one of his movies, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and he also put out movies like Death Machine, The Last Minute, and Return to Oz. Wow. Is that the super dark Oz film? I need to double check on that. Yeah. So the film is written by David S. Goyer, who wrote like the second Crow film, and he wrote like a bunch of DC movies, and I think he even wrote and directed the third Blade film. What was it called? Blade Trinity, which I actually liked that film. It's a shame they never made a fourth one, because in the third one they sequel baited that there was going to be werewolves, which would have been cool, you know, to see Blade fight werewolves, right? Yeah, so the film stars Wesley Snipes as Blade, Stephen Dorff as Deacon Frost, Kristofferson as Whistler, Wright as Karen, don't know how to pronounce her name, sorry. Donal, Logue as Quinn, who you'll know from, well, he's basically a TV actor, and he played Harvey Bullock in Gotham TV show. Sorry, my dog is just barking randomly. Kier as Dragonetti, Ari Jover as Mercury, and Tracy Lords is in the film in the beginning. Right? Oh, there's like one of the actors has like one of the actors in this list has like a mugshot for his like photo. So Kevin Patrick Walls as Krieger, don't even know who that is. Oh, he was like the cop. Okay. I wonder what he went to jail for. So yeah, I gotta say, I despite being a comic book fan, I've never read the Blade comics. I have read comics that had Blade in them, right? And from what I've been told, that Blade was pretty much like an unpopular character. That they made the movies, and the movies pretty much shaped how Blade would be later on in the comics. Like, he was like an uncool character, then they made a movie, and then they made him cool, right? Yeah, so like at least that's what I've been told. I'm not 100% sure on that. Which for Halloween month, we're going to review the Tomb of Dracula. I have a reprint of Blade's first appearance in Tomb of Dracula, so we're going to review that for Halloween month, so make sure to check that out. Yeah, so the story of this film is basically Wesley Snipes plays Blade, who is a half-breed vampire called the Daywalker by his enemies, that goes around killing vampires, right, who hunt and kill humans, right, and he's helped by his friend and mentor Whistler, who arms him and makes his weapons and stuff like that, and they saved this doctor Karen from a vampire, right? And she was bitten, right? So they give her garlic, and she may or may not turn into a vampire, and she happens to be a doctor who specializes in blood, so she's working on a cure. While this is going on, you have Deacon Frost, who is a turned vampire, who's like a vampire crime boss, who has like a lot of there's a lot of internal struggle with the vampire society, where you have the born vampires, and then you have the turned vampires, and you have racial struggles with them. Right. Good. And how they explain the vampires in this film is basically they have like a truce with the Earth governments, where they can go around and hunt humans, but they can't you know, like they can't be in crowds, right? So like, you know, that's why the, you know, the born vampires hate Deacon Frost, because he's having like vampire nightclubs where like vampires are like chewing, like, you know, are killing humans, and that's where Blade shows up right in the beginning of the film, where like, you know, Tracy Lords, who's a vampire, lures this one guy into this nightclub where he's about to get eaten, right? But Blade shows up and like saves the dude, which that was like a cool scene. Well, this movie is so late 90s. It has the whole Matrix thing where you have like people wearing black, right? And like you have the, you know, rule of cool going on with the stylish weapons and the clothes, right? Everything, like everybody's dressed like they're in like a fucking like rock music video, which that's what I fucking loved about the late 90s movies, where they had that like cool aesthetic, right? Yeah, and the music's pretty cool, and there's like some cool body horror in the film, though there's some bad dated CGI in the film. There is some cool body horror, and they use miniatures in the film, right? Like if you ever seen Gantz, there's some cool scenes where, like, you know, Karen develops this serum that could be used as a weapon against vampires, where they blow up like water balloons and then explode, which looks fucking really cool, right? Yeah. Also, you have the thing where sometimes the vampires, they get killed and they turn into like burning skeletons and into ash, kind of like in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, right? Man, my dog is really fucking barking. Oh, shut up, dog. Oh my god. Yeah, so like, I don't know, I really enjoyed the movie, but I thought the action scenes weren't, like, the action scenes, though well shot, the fight choreography was a little lame. Lots of high kicks and spamming of high kicks, which, if you know anything about martial arts, you know high kicks are very, they don't use, in martial arts, you don't use a lot of high kicks because, you know, high kicks are like very easy to like grab by, like, your opponent can grab it and, like, you know, counter, right? So a lot of spamming of high kicks, right? Which, you know, that's one of my problems with the film, that and the dated CGI. And there's some I wouldn't say cheesy one-liners, but there's like typical action one-liners, and there's even like this one, the last one-liner by Blade is like, some motherfuckers always have to ice skate uphill, right? Which Wesley Snipes is kind of funny in this film, right? With some of the lines he has, like he gets shot by cops and he's like a bulletproof vest and he's like, motherfuckers, did you just shoot me? Yeah, and there's even like this scene where there's this black guy, he goes to get like serum because he doesn't drink blood, right? He drinks like the serum, and like, you know, he does the, like the fist bump, like, you know, props thing, which is like typical 90s. Yeah, also Kristofferson as the badass old man character was really good, though spoiler alert, they kill him in this movie, which is like, makes no sense when they bring him back for the sequel, which is directed by what's his name, Guillermo del Toro, which the sequel is probably better than this one. But I love Deacon Frost in the film. He had like who's played by Stephen Dorff. He has a really cool look, and like the whole, like, his whole plan where he's trying to resurrect, you know, the blood god Corn. If you Blood for the Blood God, if you've ever played Warhammer 40k, which it turns out there is no blood god. He just becomes this like immortal monster character where Blade cuts him up to pieces, but he just regenerates. Even like silver doesn't work, but like, you know, Blade obviously comes up with a way to defeat him, which you know, kind of, you know, I don't know, I kind of would have preferred, like, this epic monster in the film, but, you know, Deacon Frost is, you know, is, like, you know, Blade's arch enemy. If you ever seen the Blade anime, Deacon Frost is in that. And they also, if you ever watched the Tim Burton Batman 1989 film, you know, there's like a very similar plot point where, like, you know, the villain helped create, like, the hero. You have the same thing going on here, where, like, you find out that Deacon Frost was the vampire that bit, like, you know, Blade's mother, that turned her into a vampire, him into the Daywalker, right? Which I thought that was a cool plot twist, right? Which, you know, even Blade's mother's in the film, and, like, Blade has to kill her, which, you know, I thought that was, like, a cool scene. Though I thought it was a little weird, like, where, like, you know, she's young and looks younger than Wesley Snipes, and, like, it's like, she's like, there's, like, this weird scene where it's like, she's, like, almost trying to not seduce him, but it's like, you know, it's like, it's very creepy. Right. Also, one other complaint. I don't mind the whole thing where, like, vampires age in the film. That's how they get around with how they explain how there are old and young vampires. Like, vampires just age, you know, slowly. But, like, I thought, I'm not a huge fan of the whole, like, vampires, that all it takes to turn somebody into a vampire is to bite a human, because that means they pretty much have to kill the human after biting them, which would, like, you know, or otherwise you would have a huge population of vampires. But if they're going around killing humans after they bite them, then, like, wouldn't that, like, you know, lead to their, like, discovery, right? Which they're trying to be stealthy in the film, even though they said they have an a truce with, like, their world's government. I don't know, I thought that was a little weird. Also, they bring up ghouls, where sometimes humans who are bitten by vampires don't become vampires, they become, like, zombie ghouls, where, like, you know, Karen's friend becomes, like, a ghoul at the end of the film, which she just beats up with a leg bone. Right? Which, you know. Yeah, like, overall, I thought the action was cool. I like the style of the film. It's a very stylized film. Though some of the music I was not a fan of, but, you know, like, you know, early 90s, like, techno music. Well, not early, like, late 90s techno music was still trying to figure shit out. Right? So, like, overall, I thought the film was great, and I recommend it, right? And it'll probably be a lot better than the fucking new Blade movie that's coming out, which, you know, is going to be highly politicized, and I'm not looking forward to it at all. It's going to suck. Yeah. If you're a Blade, if you're, like, interested in Blade, I would say the movies are good. Though, like, some people don't like the third one. I don't know, I like the third one. Though it came off looking cheap at times. There's also a Blade TV show, which I watched back in the day on Spike TV. Wasn't bad, and there's a Blade anime, and the Blade anime was probably the best out of the 4 Marvel anime series that they put out by Madhouse. So yeah, I would check that out. So my next movie review is, we're gonna go back to reviewing. We're gonna try to switch it up, where, you know, once in a while we review horror, then some action. You know, you know, break stuff up. And I'm gonna try to upload a comic book haul video. I actually picked up some trades, but, like, I tried to record a video, and, like, the video I guess didn't save properly, so I had to fucking redo it. I have to redo it again. So yeah, I'll try to upload that at some point. Yeah. And my Joker manga review, I'm going to try to upload that on Monday. Alright guys, peace.